Testing, testing. I know you can hear me here. Shabbat Shalom and good evening. Kind of got word that the people on Zoom are having trouble hearing, so we want to find out if that's true. And if they, in a minute, if they text, I'll be able to see it, but not yet. We'll try to get everything set up before we start. Oh, it's nice to see all of you here today. Got it. Okay.
Recording in progress.
Joyce, can you hear?
Yeah, it's definitely.
No. But
Really? Because I can hear it on my phone.
We can hear it on the phone? So I think it might be, Margie, can you hear? Or Elaine? Let me see. You can hear or you can't hear? You can, okay, great. We'll plug that in a bit. All right, so good evening, Erev Tov and Shabbat Shalom. We are excited to be here. We are excited as Jeffrey begins his weekend as a bar mitzvah, so we are thrilled that your family could join us tonight, and we know there'll be some more folks tomorrow. So this will be a great way to get started. I'd like to invite you, if you're in the sanctuary or if you're home on Zoom or watching on Facebook, to allow yourself to feel the awe of Shabbat, to feel the holiness of our service. It's a little easier when we're here and in this room. But even then, it could take some doing. And when we're home, it's very hard because there's dinner on the stove, there's a phone ringing, there's somebody calling from the other room. So, sorry, I invite you, whether you're home or you're here, to take a few minutes during the service, whether it's one prayer or one song prayer or maybe your own silent meditation and thoughts, to feel fully present wherever you are. That could involve sitting in your seat and feeling your tush on the seat and your feet on the ground. It could involve just focusing your mind on the words on the page. It's hard to sustain that for the entire service, but even if each of us can grab that focus for just a few minutes, it will intensify our experience. Part of coming to a service, part of a religious ritual, is allowing ourselves to be immersed in the feeling of awe, of something beyond ourselves, of some power greater than us, of the mysteries of nature, the mysteries of life and death. That's what we feel as we join together. And when we do so, surrounded by other people, again on the screen or in person, we're able to intensify and expand that feeling and to help one another. So that's our invitation to you this evening. Our opening song can be found on page 650. Remember, if you are using the thinner prayer book that says Shabbat on the binding, we'll be following the numbers in the brackets. If your prayer book, which should have a flame on the front, doesn't have numbers in brackets, then it's just page 650. And it's called Yismachu Hashamayim.
This is from the opening, one of the opening Kabbalat Shabbat Psalms, Psalm 96. It's just easier to find it when they just take that little piece of text right out for you, so that's why we're reading it from the back of the book. Yismechu hashamayim v'tagel haaretz yiram hayam umelo ישמחו השמיים ותגי הארץ, ירם הים ומלואו. ישמחו השמיים ותגי הארץ, ירם הים ומלואו. Yama my 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 my, yama my 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 my, yama my 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 my, yama my 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 my, yama my 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 my, yama my 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 my. Yismechu hashamayim v'tagei haaretz, yiram hayam.
We now turn to page 120, toward the beginning of the book, page 2 in the thinner version. And it is my joy to invite Jeffrey and his mom Jennifer to kindle the Shabbat lights.
Oh, hear my prayer, I sing to you. Be gracious to the ones I love, and bless them with goodness and mercy and peace. Oh, hear my prayer to you.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lights, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kadishianu b'mitzvotov v'tzivanu ha-ner Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotov v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Let us light these lights and see the way to you, and let us say Amen. Let us light these lights and see the way to you, and let us say Amen.
We turn to page 127, and we pray responsively. There are days when we seek things for ourselves and measure failure by what we do not gain. On Shabbat, we seek not to acquire, but to share. There are days when we exploit nature as if it were a horn of plenty that can never be exhausted. On Shabbat, we stand in wonder before the mystery of creation. There are days when we act as if we cared nothing for the rights of others. On Shabbat, we remember that justice is our duty and a better world our goal. So we embrace Shabbat, day of rest, day of wonder, day of peace. Page 138. Lecha Dodi, and when we get to the last verse, we'll give you some instructions to stand up if you are able, and to turn and face the door, and to feel Shabbat washing over you.
Lecha Dodi, lekrakala, b'nei Shabbat, lecha beila. Lecha Dodi, lekrakala, b'nei Shabbat, lecha beila.
Please remain standing as we turn to page 146. And as you remember, I invited you to find moments of awe in this service. And this prayer, the Baruch Hu, is a call and response to God. While not literally, it somewhat means, we're here, God, we're ready to pray. Or God asks, are you here, God, and ready to pray? And we respond, we're here, God, and ready to pray. So this might be a moment where you put your complete focus into what does it mean to be ready to pray.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
We turn the page, 148.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidbaro ma'ariv arabim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher
We turn to page 151 as we introduce Ahavat Olam with this responsive reading. Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol. All these things your Torah gives to us. And the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works and the living language that gives it form? Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu, B'shoveinu u'v'kumeinu, Nasiach b'chukecha, V'nismach b'divrei Toratecha, u'v'mitzvotecha, le'olam va'ed, ki heim chayeinu, ve'orech yameinu, uvehem negeh yomam v'layla, ve'avataka al tasir mimenu le'olamim. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam va'ed.
Please be seated as we continue together, first on page 154 and then on page 155. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, v'chol levavcha, v'chol nafshecha, v'chol meodecha, v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele, asher anochi mitzavka hayom al levavecha, v'shinantam levanecha, v'dibarta bam, v'shivtecha b'veitecha, uv'lechtecha v'aderech, u'shafbecha uv'kumecha, u'kshartam le'ot al yadecha, v'hayu letotafot bein einecha, u'ktavtam al mezuzot beitecha uv'isharecha. Lema'an tizkaru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai, v'yitem kiroshim le'elohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem, asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, lehiyot lachem le'elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem. Page 155 in the brackets. Love your God with every heartbeat, together, with every breath, with every conscious act. Keep in mind the words I command you today. Teach them to your children. Talk about them at work, whether you are tired or you are rested. Let them guide the work of your hands. Keep them in the forefront of your vision. Do not leave them at the doorway of your house or outside your gate. They are reminders to do all of my mitzvot, so that you can be holy for God. I am Adonai, your God. I led you out of Egypt to become your God. I am Adonai, your God. We turn now to page 158, Micha Mocha.
Mocha, Micha Mocha, Micha Mocha, Micha Mocha, Micha Mocha, Micha Mocha, Ba'elim Adonai. Micha Mocha, Micha Mocha, Micha Mocha, Micha Mocha, Micha Mocha, Micha Mocha.
We turn to page 161. As we pray together, let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael v'al Yerushalayim. We praise Shabbat v'shamru.
V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל Vashvi, Shabbat Vainafash, Shabbat Vainafash, Shabbat Vainafash. Veshamru B'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat La'asot et HaShabbat Lidorotam Berit Olam.
On page 165, as we prepare for the Amidah, we find inspiration in the words of Regina Jonas. God has placed abilities and challenges in our hearts without regard to gender. Each of us has the duty, whether man or woman, to realize those gifts God has given us. And Regina Jonas is considered one of the first women to become a rabbi. In 1938 in Germany, she was studying, and then the Shoah happened, and she died in Theresienstadt. But she had gotten private ordination prior to her death. But her story wasn't known, so when Sally Priesand in 1972 was ordained the first woman rabbi, it was appropriately a big deal, but now that we know that Regina Jonas was a rabbi as well, we've kind of added her to the list of firsts. So with our special gifts and talents, we rise for the Amidah. Page 166.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avoteinu v'Imoteinu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, V'konei HaKol, V'zocher Chastei Avot v'Imahot, U'mevii Geulah Livnei Bneihem, L'ma'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Gozer U'Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Bezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'am Adonai, Mechayei HaKol atah Rav De'Hoshia, Mechakel Chaim Bechesed, Mechayei HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somek Noflim V'Rofei Cholim, U'matir Asurim, U'mekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Michamocha Ba'al Gevurot, U'midol Melach, Melech Meimid, U'mechayeh, U'matzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah Hayot HaKol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayei HaKol.
We turn to page 171. Days pass and the years vanish, and we walk sightless among miracles. God, fill our eyes with seeing and our minds with knowing. Let there be moments when your presence, like lightning, illumines the darkness in which we walk. Help us to see, wherever we gaze, that the bush burns unconsumed. And we, clay touched by God, will reach out in holiness and exclaim in wonder, how filled with awe is this place, and we did not know it. Blessed is the Eternal One, the Holy God. Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh. Please be seated as we continue responsively on page 173. Disturb us, Adonai. Ruffle us from our complacency. Make us dissatisfied with the peace of ignorance, the quietude which arises from a shunning of the horror, the defeat, the bitterness, and the poverty, physical and spiritual, of humans. Shock us, Adonai, deny to us the false Shabbat, which gives us the delusions of satisfaction amid a world of war and hatred. Wake us, O God, and shake us from the sweet and sad poignancies rendered by half-forgotten melodies and rubric prayers of yesteryears. Make us know that the border of this sanctuary is not the border of living, and the walls of your temples are not shelters from the winds of truth, justice, and reality. Disturb us, O God, and vex us. Let not your Shabbat be a day of torpor and slumber. Let it be a time to be stirred and spurred to action. Baruch atah Adonai mikadesh haShabbat. On page 175, we find Ritzeh.
You know I had to play it. Ritzeh, Adonai Eloheinu, Be'amcha Yisrael. Ritzeh, Adonai Eloheinu, Be'amcha Yisrael. Utefilatam, be'ahava tikaber. Utefilatam, be'ahava tikaber. Ritzeh, Adonai Eloheinu, be'amcha Yisrael. Ritzeh, Adonai Eloheinu, be'amcha Yisrael. Utehi l'ratzon tamid avodat Yisrael Amecha. Utehi l'ratzon tamid avodat Yisrael Amecha. Ritzeh, Adonai Eloheinu, be'amcha Yisrael. Ritzeh, Adonai Eloheinu, be'amcha Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otecha levadcha me'ir anavo.
And from this place of settling into Shabbat, we give thanks. Together on page 177, the second prayer. When we behold your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and stars that you set in place, what are we humans that you are mindful of us? We mortals that you take note of us. You made us a little less than divine, adorned us with glory and majesty. You gave us dominion over your handiwork, laying the world at our feet. How majestic is your name throughout the earth. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha l'cha na'eh lehodot. Together we pray for peace, page 178.
Shalom, 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 Rav. Israel, Amcha, Hasim Leolam. Shalom, 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 Rav. Israel, Amcha. Hasim Leolam, Ki Atahu, Melech Adon, Lekol HaShalom, Ki Atahu, Melech Adon, Lekol HaShalom. Shalom, 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 Rav. Israel, Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom, 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 Rav. Israel, Amcha, Tasim Leolam. B'tov b'einecha levarim et Amcha Yisrael b'kol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom, 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 Rav. Israel, Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom, 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 Rav. Israel, Amcha, Tasim Leolam, Leolam,
As we enter into silent prayer, this is another opportunity to feel the enormity of our tradition, the holiness of this place, to feel the support of community and of thousands and thousands of years of tradition. So we enter into silent prayer. you. Over the last 78 years, there has been controversy in the appropriate, best, most impactful ways we should remember the events of the Shoah, of the Holocaust. In the late 1940s, in Israel, they started to have simple ceremonies. Those ceremonies were actually the burial of ashes, the burial of earth from Europe that was brought to Israel to be given proper respect. By 1951, a day that we think of today as just Yom HaShoah, Holocaust Day, Holocaust Remembrance Day, but its official name was Yom HaZikaron LeShoah V'Legvura, the day, Remembrance Day for the Holocaust and heroism. It's an interesting day. So this is the early 50s when it was established and then codified in 1959. The victims of the Holocaust were to be remembered, but if you think about the history of Israel and the people who were living there, they were the people who fought back. They were the survivors, or people who had left earlier and were fighting to create a new country. So they wanted to also remember the martyrs, the people who had stood up, the people who had fought back in Warsaw, who had tried to end the atrocities that were going on while they were happening. So that's why they added "and heroes." And the museum, Yad Vashem, part of its name is "and martyrs." So it makes sense. And this day that they picked in between Passover and Yom HaAtzmaut, Israel Independence Day, is to commemorate. It's a little bit after the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising, which was the first day of Passover, which didn't seem to work to have a commemoration. So they picked a time shortly after. That was what the Israeli psyche needed. In 2005, the United Nations created an International Holocaust Remembrance Day, a day that allowed the world to do two things: to mourn the Jews who died in the Holocaust and all the other victims of the Shoah, and unfortunately there were many, and to focus on educating the next generation. That day is January 27th, which was selected because that is the day that Auschwitz-Birkenau was liberated. Somewhat makes sense that an international body would pick the day that the war ended, the day that the rest of the world really began to step in and make a difference and witness the atrocities that had been going on for years. That was 78 years ago today. It's hard to believe. Today, I want to share one more thing about the United Nations setting that day, was that it was done in conjunction with UN Resolution 60-7, which also rejected Holocaust denial and said that that's unacceptable. So today, International Holocaust Remembrance Day, there were ceremonies all around the world. And the United States was well represented, and the White House participated directly in some of these ceremonies and had their own. Here are some of the ideas that were reflected. Shelley Greenspan, the White House liaison to the Jewish community, writes, "From the moment you walk under the Arbeit Machfrei gate at Auschwitz-Birkenau, you are surrounded by physical remnants of hatred and suffering." I thought this insight of hers was so interesting. The vastness of the complex epitomizes the enormity of the evil that took place. President Biden remarked, "Never again was a promise my father first instilled in me at our family dinner table, educating me and my siblings about the horrors of the Shoah. It is a lesson I've passed on to my own children and grandchildren by taking them to Dachau to understand for themselves the depths of this evil. And I would say so importantly, not more importantly, but so important for all of us, the complicity of those who knew what was happening and yet said nothing." He continued, "Seeing neo-Nazis and white nationalists march from the shadows in Charlottesville in 2017, spewing the same anti-Semitic bile that we heard in the 1930s in Europe, drove me to run for president." He continues, "It is vile. It goes against everything we value as Americans, and each of us must speak out against this poison. Together we must affirm over and over that hate has no safe harbor in America." And he announced, "To mark this day of remembrance, the second gentleman of the United States, Douglas Emhoff, is participating in a commemoration ceremony at the Auschwitz-Birkenau concentration camp in Poland, and will be visiting Berlin, Germany to coordinate international efforts to combat anti-Semitism." Douglas Emhoff and Deborah Lipstadt, U.S. Special Envoy to combat anti-Semitism, which is an amazing position that exists and it's brand new, wrote an op-ed saying, "As we reflect on history, we know that the bigotry that fueled the Holocaust did not end when the camps were liberated. Anti-Semitism may be considered one of the oldest forms of hatred, but its insidious impact and its deep dangers are not relegated to the past." They continue, "Anti-Semitism is increasing at home and abroad. Hatred of Jewish people simply for being Jews is real and rising. We can only stop this scourge if governments and community leaders declare it unacceptable and inconsistent with our values." And they shared that plans are in the works to create an interagency United States National Action Plan on anti-Semitism. So while things are happening on the national level, while people are speaking out, while people are remembering, I also wanted us to think about how we will teach the horrors of the Shoah to the next generation. Back in the 50s and then 60s, scare tactics were used. Maybe you grew up and saw the movie Night in Fog that was very graphic, or read Elie Wiesel's Night before you were really old enough to assimilate the ideas and process it, because that was all there was to read. Today, fortunately, so much work has been done in curriculums like Facing History and Ourselves. Museums like the U.S. Holocaust Museum are using more contemporary techniques to educate children, to educate adults, to educate Jews and non-Jews throughout America. They emphasize providing historical context so that students can understand the events that led up to the Shoah, so that never again we can stop things before they happen. And they also recommend focusing on individual stories and people rather than numbers, so that we can build empathy and understanding for each individual. To paraphrase Rabbi Gelman and others, 6 million Jews didn't die in the Shoah. And that number, as I learned when I was at Yad Vashem this last month, is actually an underestimate. They've actually have evidence now that the number would be much higher. 6 million Jews didn't die in the Shoah. One person died 6 million times. Each individual, each life, each generation for the future that was lost happened 6 million different times. I'm proud that at Temple Beth Torah, we have been using the Facing History in Ourselves curriculum for about 15 years, which really helps our 7th graders to understand what they can do to create a better society, what was done and what wasn't done, and to think about how they personally can be better individuals, better participants in society. I know you just started that class yesterday, which was very nice that you were at Hebrew school yesterday. That was good. But they learn how they can be the ones who stand up against hatred and speak out, not only against anti-Semitism, but against all the discriminations and injustices that they will come up against in their life, and that they already do as teenagers, as young adults. In doing research for tonight, I came across a new collection of writings that tell some of the stories which we are not familiar with. Alana Moskowitz in the U.S. Holocaust Museum blog writes and says, though there have always been famous Holocaust memoirs by heroines such as Hannah Senesh and Anne Frank, feminist historians have only recently illuminated some of the stories of women that have been overlooked in favor of male voices or versions of events. These stories document women as leaders rather than in secondary roles, like many previous accounts have. And the book is called The Light of Days by Judy Battalion, and it is made up of many of these stories. It provides rich accounts of Jewish women in Polish youth movements who challenged the Nazis. Their goal was to rescue fellow Jews, and if that wasn't possible, then at least to die with dignity and respect. I'm going to look into finding this book and reading it. At our temple, we too want to tell the stories of the Shoah, and we've been speaking with 3 different people who we hope to bring to the synagogue in the next few months. Harry Rappaport, father of our member Brenda Propus, and Fred Gross, who tells his family story, neighbor of Maxine Atkins. And recently I bumped into Alyssa Ehrlich-Kressel, who grew up at Temple Beth Torah and is a member of 3G, a 3G group, which is 3rd generation. And she and her colleagues are telling the stories of their grandparents. They're going around to schools and synagogues and communities. And she said to me, do you remember when my grandparents used to come to Beth Torah and tell their story? And I do. She said, I would be so honored to continue that tradition and tell their story to the students in your religious school. So we are working on a date to bring Alyssa here. Tonight, or in the next few days, I invite you to honor the memory of those who perished, to read a story of one person, to watch a video, or to go and hear a speaker. And join us in the next few months as we provide opportunities as well. Please, please, let this day, International Holocaust Remembrance Day, be a reminder to each of us, to each of you, to never forget and to stand up and do your part to make this world a safer one for everyone. Ken Yehi Ratzon. We turn now to page 586, and I invite you to rise for the Aleinu, the bottom of 586.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשינו כגויי הרצון, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגור עלינו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו
We turn to page 598 for the Mourner's Kaddish. So let us remember all those who perished in the Shoah, who have no one to say Kaddish for them. Let us think of this last I read, the 7 who died in the terrorist attack in Neve Yaakov today, and the 9 who died in Jenin on Thursday, who were Palestinians. Let us also remember our own loved ones. We are in the month of mourning for Dylan Ross, son of Marlene and Mark Ross, and Charlie Holzberg, husband of Myrna Holzberg, and Kasha Wiedenbaum, sister-in-law of Adina Wanderman. And we are in the week of mourning for Marilyn Schatz, mother of Frank Schatz, Frank Schatz. And we too remember those whose yurtzites fall at this season. Betty Axelrad, Eliyahu Berman, Barry Blimes, Faggy Budnick, Brian Bruno, Leslie Fine, Harry Gerbs, Sylvia Goldberg, Eric Brandon Goldberg, Lee Elliott Gould, Irving Haber, Irene Haber, Harriet Katz, Betty Cohn, Daniel Kraus, Sam Lieberman, Gertrude Lindauer, Gladys Manis, Jacob Mayer, Ruth Merwitz, Gerald H. Morgenstern, Sonny Gerald November, Sally Rabin, Phyllis Rind, Shirley Schessler, Jill Scott, Alvin Soffler, Helen Stecker, Lloyd Ziegler, and Jack Zipkin. Is there anyone else you're saying Kaddish for? Natasha? Thank you. Mark Eisenberg.
and Marvin Bregman.
And Marvin Bregman. Let us join together in love and memory. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'yalma divrach hirtei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, b'gala uv'izman kariv v'imru.
Amen.
Yehei shmei Rabbah mivorach le'olam omei omaya. Yitbarak v'yishtabak v'yipa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kudashah birchu. Leila min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiram v'yalma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlomo Rabbah min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved, here and everywhere. Say, Amen. Please remain standing as we invite Jeffrey back to the bima with his dad, David Kleinman. for the Kiddush.
Very dapper, I have to say.
Here's your page. Cantor, I'm gonna go mic in a second.
The heaven and the earth were finished, and all their work. And on the seventh day, God finished the work that God had been doing. And God ceased on the seventh day from all the work that God had done. And God blessed the seventh day and declared it holy, because on it God ceased from all the work of creation that God had done.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kedeshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu b'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lama'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila למקראי קודש, זכר יציאת מצרים, כיוונו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת, מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך, באהבה וברצון, הנחלתנו. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat.
Amen. L'chaim.
L'chaim. All right, please be seated. And it's my pleasure to invite Tony Kane, a member of the board. You're doing announcements, right?
I am indeed doing.
And you are, but we're not doing announcements yet. We're just going to present Jeffrey with.
Presentation.
Fabulous. We're going to get you a microphone, and you're going to stay here.
Oh, I can project.
Oh, no,
Jeffrey,
because.
Tony, Tony. But they can't hear you on Zoom then.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
So
yes, yes.
mic me up.
It's got to be close to your mouth.
Oh, it does.
Yes.
Well, mazel tov, Jeffrey. A lot of hard work that brought you to this day, and mazel tov to Jennifer and David for, I'm sure, a lot of support. Looks like you have somebody on deck. Who's next?
Somebody.
Well, we have some gifts for you. First being a 50-degree and sunny day tomorrow, that you can all enjoy. We have a gift from the Brotherhood and Sisterhood, Kiddush Cup. You've already partaken. May that be the first of many simchas you celebrate and toast. We have a wonderful certificate of Bar Mitzvah that I hope you display proudly and continue your Jewish education. It already sounds like you're starting the next set of courses. So you can enjoy it tomorrow and start all over again on Monday. We also have a $250 gift certificate from NIPTY for a future trip to Israel, as well as a free one-year membership at the Suffolk County Y. That offer phenomenal programs that hope we take advantage of. You're welcome. Again, already mazel tov to you all, and you're welcome.
Wonderful. I'm just fixing up the announcements for you in a minute or two, so you can head back down. Tony can stay up here, because they have stuff from last week that
you're
I don't
editing
think, I'm editing them. Oh, I'll take a look. I'm not ready yet to give them to you. All right, but we have some good things to celebrate. We found lots of birthdays, direct and indirect. So, want to make sure I catch Lydia Mayer on Zoom. And I don't know if Matt Pell is on Zoom, but I know his parents are. And if Stacy, you could wish both Josh and Jamie happy birthdays from us, we would love that. What a busy week you have. Susan Bloomfeld's birthday is tomorrow. She'll be here next week, so we will bless her again. But if you wanted to reach out, she's in Chicago for a little bit. And Hunter Wiesenberg's birthday is Tuesday. He'll be 9, for those of you who have been following his aging process. And Gloria Shulman, happy birthday, the same day as Hunter's, and she'll just be a little bit older than Hunter, with her own special birthday. Now, Jeffrey, you had a birthday very recently, didn't you? Like Wednesday? Happy birthday as well. You're the only one here. I won't embarrass you and make you stand up for it. And I don't, anybody else birthday this week, next week?
Anniversary, anything.
Oh, anniversary, the Menkins. How did I miss that? Please? It's a while ago. 30 years ago. I saw some cute pictures. Happy anniversary. You guys can stand up. Jeffrey, now I'm going to make you stand up for your birthday, too. As long as you're not the only one standing in the sanctuary, I'm not going to feel so bad. Let's just check real quick on our Zoom. Right.
Nope.
All right. So we will sing Shehechianu to offer you blessing and on all those we mentioned and those we're sending out to Zoom as well.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Amen.
Mazel tov, l'chaim, and a special happy birthday to Aviva Dylan Beller, who was born 7 days ago, right? Seven days ago, and her grandma is here with us now. Just flew back from, where were you? California. I thought it was California. They used to live somewhere else. From California, and mommy and baby and everybody, daddy too, are doing well. So mazel tov, and enjoy her 1 week birthday. Isn't that fun? Oh, thank you. I did things a little out of order, but Cantor has reminded me. Let's also turn and pray for healing. Page 371, we pray for healing for Ruth Block, mother of Paul Block, and Renee Kimmel, friend of Margie Block. For Karen Morgenstern, and we're glad you're here with us. For Tamir Young, for Shelley Rosedale, for Betty Morrell, mother of Jen Fusco, and Andrea Aarons Pincus, sister of Jen. For Jean Chapnick, friend of Erica LaShawn. For Fern Bernstein and her son Alex Bernstein. For Cindy Boxer. For Mel, stepfather of John Greenhut. For Barbara Selps, mother of Beth Silverman. For Audrey Kahn, wife of Morris. So many names on our Mishabay-Rock list. Also for David Leinhart and Dave Goldstein. For Merle Perlow, for Sandy Miller, for Ben Hirsch, for Jack Legros. Lazar Lieberman, or Eliezer, right? And who else are we praying for today? Judy, we'll start with you.
Leaning back and folding slowly.
Thank you. Pam? Thank you. Amy? Good to see you. Thank you. Anybody else on our Zoom?
One more, Lily, it's either Bluchettes or Bluchettes.
Okay. So we pray for all those who are sick, for those we've named, for those on our list, for those we're holding in our hearts. We offer these prayers of healing for each of you in this sanctuary, and we send these prayers of healing out into the universe.
Mishabay-Roch Avoteinu, Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishabay-Roch Imo a renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
I'd like to also add for Joan Silverman, mother of Mary Resnick, for Richard Moskowitz, and for Marissa Axelrad. Amen, amen. A complete and speedy healing. Okay. While you're coming up, Tony, to use this version, because you
Edited version.
she gave you wrong information. I'm sorry, I think it cut and pasting from last week. But I also want to add to that, and we'll get you a mic, that we've advertised it, but on Wednesday night, there is a program called Talking About Anti-Semitism to Children. And it's a regional-wide program put on by UJ Federation and probably JCRC and a couple other groups. So we sent out the link. You do have to register Wednesday night at 7 o'clock with several experts on talking about anti-Semitism in productive ways. So that's not on the list at all. But I'll jump in if I think of something else.
Well, good Shabbos, everybody.
Good Shabbos, Tony.
I've been waiting for that. I don't know. First of all, Cantor, thank you so much. Your melodic tones always enlighten the room. And Rabbi, I'm so glad you talked about the Holocaust today. I heard a very, very disturbing statistic this morning that 30% of people under the age of 40 don't even know that 6 million Jews perished.
Wow.
That's really was eye-opening.
Mm-hmm.
So, we continue to teach and share from generation to generation. Let them never forget. On Saturday, January 28th, we have Shabbat Torah study. It's online. Monday, January 30th, village cooking and eating at Dixville Jewish Center. A special
Tu B'Shvat Seder.
Seder,
So
okay.
it's for members like 55 and older of the congregation, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Okay, and at 7 o'clock, teachings with Rabbi Gelman. Tuesday, January 31st at 10 a.m. is Jewish Tangents. 6:30 is youth group. And a lot of cross-ties. Okay, we fast forward to...
They can't hear you. Is your mic on, or you're not holding it up close?
Torah yoga, is
I don't
that
know why
still
that
a thing?
microphone's
Was
not
that
really-
crossed out also?
Why don't you go to one of the podiums, because those mics definitely work.
No, I think...
It's the people on Zoom that can't hear. It's not that people here can't.
The Zoomer, the baby Zoomers, yes.
Yes. No, there's always Torah yoga on Friday mornings at 10:15.
Okay, well, we will definitely have to. And a special musical Shabbat on February the 3rd for Shabbat Shira. We have a lot of exciting things coming up. On February the 13th, Jerry Poliak's wonderful new home in Florida is having a cocktail party. We're all invited.
And I will be there.
You will be there. Rabbi Gelman's also teaching via Zoom on January 30th, and a new date set on March 13th. And then we have our Guys and Dolls coming up on March 5th. There's, save the date for on the website. When is the Cabaret Live Music and Meet the cast of Guys and Dolls? Sunday, February the 5th. You can still sign up for that. Getting ready for the presentation of Guys and Dolls on March 24th and 25th. Tickets are available online. We start travel to Israel with Rabbi Moskowitz, which is on April 15th to April 26th. Now, you have still have openings? It says closing soon. So you
The
still
Israel, I still have openings, but it's going to
Okay.
close in the next week or so.
All right. And to everyone, a good Shabbos, a Mazel Tov again. And
And if your eye skipped, I think March 5th is Purim. If you haven't bought your tickets yet, or you want to bring grandchildren, you can buy tickets ahead of time and skip the line. There'll be raffle prizes, so if you'd like to donate that more, just buy tickets and support it. That would be great as well. But you said it right, but February 5th is it's like a cabaret, but contemporary
It's
songs.
a musical boozy brunch with cast members of Guys and Dolls, but they're not singing musical theater. They're singing I'm singing as well, like Frank Sinatra, Captain and Tennille. I'm singing a Fleetwood Mac song, The Beatles, Whitney
Carlisle.
Houston, Elton John. So it's going to be a fun morning because there's a lot of talent in the cast, and it's nice to hear them sing something other than musical theater. So.
Thank you
Drop the mic.
so much. You can drop the mic, and we have our closing song.
So, just so you have some context as to why I'm singing this, the Torah portion this week is the story of the hardening of Pharaoh's heart and the plagues. Am I correct, Mr. Kleinman? Thank you. Okay. Jeffrey's going to teach all about it tomorrow, but I'm just going to sing a song. When Israel was in Egypt's land, let my people go. Oppressed so hard they could not stand. Let my people go. Go down, Moses, way down to Egypt land. Tell old Pharaoh, let my people go. So Moses went to Egypt land. Let my people go. He made old Pharaoh understand. Let my people go. Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt land. Tell old Pharaoh, let my people go. Thus spoke the Lord, for Moses said, let my people go. If not, I'll smite your firstborn dead. Let my people go. Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt land. Tell old Pharaoh, let my people go.
Thank you. Please rise. Speaking of spiritual songs, I heard Louis Armstrong singing Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego last night. And I thought of Guys and Dolls, and his version is the jazz version, but based on a spiritual. So it tied in with our study of Daniel last night. Fascinating. Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, our God and God of our mothers and fathers. Thank you for giving us the ability to see where the world needs fixing and giving us the wherewithal to try and fix it. And let us say, Amen. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
We got cookies and fruit. You might have to unwrap some things, but we can't wait to say hello. Shabbat Shalom in Zoomland.
But Dolly's like, it's like a ferret, you know what I mean? You have somebody come over and stay with them. Yeah. I have a pet sitter. I have a couple. Because I, yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
So when would this particular movie come up here?
Next weekend.
Oh, next week.
Yeah. guys. Oh, so we met Ronan. Oh, no. He's a good guy. Hi, everybody. Good night, guys. I'll show you on the way home. Love you. Okay, up and down. Bachelor.
I was so impressed with you.
Every single day. Like, look at this. Look. I'm gonna show you. Look. Focal point. 1 foot up.
Since the stroke, she started.
I know, with your sister on Zoom.
And look at, and I'm doing, look.
That's amazing.
I know you can't see. Look, I'm doing
Weights.
Pilates. Every day I'm doing the Pilates. Good. And I'm trying to work on my horrible deformed hands from the high blood pressure.
But that's what's my
Yeah, and because the doctor said to go off the estrogen, I am like rife with hot flashes. Because I've been on hormone replacement therapy for 11 years.
Yeah.
And so I'm 61, I'm gonna be 62 in April.
Wow.
And now I'm like, during the service, I thought I was gonna die. I'm like, if I go out, Susie's gonna be so
Why are you
rude.
wearing a sweater?
I'm wearing a thin sweater because
You should wear sleeveless. You see Karen Tenenbaum always wears sleeveless.
I normally do, but I've been freezing. It's so cold in here. I was putting my jacket on myself. I was shivering the whole thing. Anyway, I'm going to California on February 7th, which is big for me because I was afraid to fly. But my therapist said, "What are you afraid of?" I said, "What if I have a stroke on the plane?" She goes, "All right, so what if you have a stroke on the plane? Let's examine that. You know, you have to face your fears. You know, you have to face them and see, you know." So I was nervous, so my sister sent me a first class ticket
Oh.
to San Francisco. So I'm gonna go
To
with,
see her?
to see, yeah, so I'm gonna go, she's the one I do yoga with every day.
Uh-huh.
So I'm gonna go with her. She has a place in this place called Ski Ranch, which is an incredible place to look it up. So we're gonna go there for a couple of days and do hikes, and then we're going to Montecito to a yoga retreat.
Ah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my
And
God.
I know, and then Eric's skiing in Salt Lake City, and he's gonna meet me in San Francisco
Oh, nice.
for a couple
So
of
do you
days.
miss work? Not really.
Not at all.
That says something.
You know, I have more power here than I thought that I did, you know, because I'm here 33 years. And I'm thinking about, do I just not go back at all and go on disability? I don't know if I qualify for long-term disability. Do I just retire? Do I say, okay, I'm not going to any more board meetings. I'm not going to be in the trenches anymore. Do I say, you know, bring me in the main office, I'll work a couple of days? I don't know what I'm going to do. I feel like it wasn't in my plan to retire at I'm not 62 yet, but I'll be 62 in April. Or I really thought I'd be bored out of my mind. I've worked every day since I'm 15, and like the month of November, I just walked around in shock from the strokes, and then December, I was like, what am I gonna do with myself? And now I love my life. I wake up, I mean, other than the hot flashes every hour and a half, that I wake up in a pool of sweat, but like I get up, I do the Wordle, I do all the games on New York Times, I do every game, then I do the crossword puzzle, I read the paper, then I do 90 minutes of yoga, then I go out, I take a shower, come back, I go take a Pilates class, I take a walk with the dog, then I
I
come
wouldn't
back,
go
I
back
cook
to
these
work
nice
full-time.
food, you know?
I'm the
really
proud
enjoy-
grandfather.
Mazel tov.
But I have to ask, you, like, did this with my kids. I have to ask you, you were at Temple Bethel in Grayson?
Yeah.
With Davidson?
Uh-huh.
When I was in Sunday school there, which you know they did differently than all the other places, we actually had to learn Hebrew, which I forgot. But I'll get through it. He was like the junior rabbi. He had just come out of school.
Wow, so the late
We loved
60s.
him. Loved him. What's he, about 80 now?
Yeah, he has to be. He could be older.
Yes, I was probably 12, and he had just gotten through we had Rudin. You heard of him, right?
Yeah. So,
What's that?
Rabbi Rudin?
Oh, no.
Oh, he was.
I never met him. He passed away before I was there.
Well,
No,
don't
no.
take this the wrong way, but you'll understand this. Back 50, 60 years ago,
Uh-huh.
if you could draw a picture of what a rabbi's supposed to look like, it was him.
Ah.
Well, people say
If you look
they
up,
thought
right?
of God. Yes, Rabbi
Right.
Rudin had
I grew up in Ralston Heights, so I went to, I was going to say Temple Beth Torah, Temple Sinai, and we had Rabbi Kahan.
Yes,
And, you know, he was always what I thought a rabbi should be. You know what I mean? Like, you have
change all these ideas.
and it's nice to have female clergy because so
From Rabbi
lovely.
Davidson or Rabbi Root?
Davidson.
Well,
Rude's a
Mazel
little
tov on
before,
your
I saw
grandson.
him, but he was before my time.
No,
His
I-
grandson's already taller than me. I went to congratulate him, he's taller than me.
All right, so we'll poke our heads in the office, and if there's no mailbox, then we'll
What'd you think I grew up?
put it in my office.
Oh, no, I grew up, my temple, Beth Shalom was conservative.
Right.
And my best friend Joanne went there, and I went to Temple Sinai, which was across the street from my house. Yeah.
My temple growing up was Temple Beth Shalom too, but it,
Oh, that's so funny.
yeah.
But now I call everything